Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and Frontline Changes Report. The first one I'm gonna go to is at Pobjeda. So over at Pobjeda, this is at the Donetsk front in the south of Marinka. So there's a few frontline changes in this area here, and so this is the Donetsk front. A lot of frontline changes. So stay with me. So over at the eastern and southeastern part of Pobjeda, the Russian forces have captured some grounds and are heading into the south of Pobjeda, towards the direction of south of Pobjeda. This is actually discovered through a geolocation of attack that was being taken of the Russians attacking, and there is some rifle battles, and while the rifle battle is ongoing, artillery strike was actually caught onto Ukrainian infantry, and eventually the Ukrainian forces cannot hold the line and they have to fall back. So this can be actually found on a DPA archive. You can go and check it out, look for the YouTube channel. And so this happens over at Pobjeda, and further up north, just off Marinka, there is another geolocation of Russian forces under Ukrainian fire. And this actually shows that the Russian forces at this position, causing a frontline change in this area here. This frontline change is more of invalidation of the Ukrainian claims, because the Ukrainians previously did not accept that the Russians have taken this junction at this area here. So this is actually just a corroboration of actually the Russian claims is actually more accurate. So we move on to further south. In the Battle of Novomykhailivka, the Russian forces, based on the information from Ryber, claimed to have taken this industrial area again, and they are heading into the southeastern part and the southern part of Novomykhailivka. The Ukrainian forces are holding up in the northern and the western part of Novomykhailivka. That's where they hold their main line, their fixed position. Everything else in the center and over in the east is either no man's land or the Russians have taken it. So the fighting over at Novomykhailivka continues. So this is the frontline change over at the Battle of Novomykhailivka. And now we head over to Avdiivka. So over at the Battle of Avdiivka, there is a significant frontline change again. There is a surprising change of frontline in the north. So after the Russian forces are taken this road on the east, this portion of the road on the western road along the western part of Avdiivka city, they actually push westward, to the surprise of probably everyone. I also never expected that they would actually push west, and they're heading in the direction of Leshnokyne. The frontline change is actually registered by the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA's mapping. So which is a surprise to me. I think nobody would have expected the Russians to be pushing in this direction. So they could be going in multiple possibilities. They can push towards Leshnokyne, or they can push south and meet Russian forces heading up in this direction, from the Vodian or the Optyne region. So this is the frontline change in the north, and in the south, the Russian forces continue their push over from Optyne. Over here, yesterday we say that they have actually pushed up in this direction, and I mentioned about the Ukrainian forces have to redraw because there is only one forest road left to run away. The forest road is now closed. There's no more ways to get out. The Russian forces have taken this area here and basically closed off the forest trail, and with the Russian forces already from the southern neighborhood of Avdiivka city taking the northern part of this settlement around here, there is no way out unless the Ukrainian forces dare to go through the center and head out through the center between two sides, and they're going to be fired upon from two sides if they try. But they can try to travel through the night and whatnot. Maybe that will work. Maybe there's fog, maybe there's a heavy snow or whatever. They have to find an opportunity to go out, because what it is now that is looking is actually a encirclement. The Ukrainian forces over this area here is now encircled effectively. There is basically almost no way out, and within the next 24 hours, I believe the Russians will close this gap. So that's it from the southern part of Avdiivka. And we move on to the Kupyansk front over at Synkivka. this is a Kupyansk front, Kupyansk city, and a Synkivka region. At the Synkivka region, there is a interesting geolocation of Ukrainian armored vehicle going on an attack of Russian forward position, and this forward position is over in the northeastern part of the settlement, and this actually shows that the Russians is actually there, and this actually changed the front line quite a little bit. So let me close this. So what we see is that the Russians actually have taken something in this area here, and the Ukrainian armored vehicle have to travel out to land fire on this forward position. Not sure if they ejected the Russian forces, but this is the front line change over at Synkivka. And another front line change is over at, let me find, at Ivanivske. So this, yeah, so Ivanivske. So this is the Bakhmut front. This is Bakhmut city. At the Bakhmut front at Ivanivske, this is actually more of a invalidation of the Ukrainian claims. So previously the Russian reporting have said that the Russians have went all the way to the eastern edge of Ivanivske, and it was not acknowledged by the Ukrainian side. The Ukrainian mapping still shows something like this. This is where the front line is. However, Russian forces is now geolocated exactly at this position, which confirms the front line change. So according to the geolocation, is based on the footage that is the Russian forces getting attacked by Ukrainian FPV drones. So this actually confirms the Russian front line. It's actually correct. So it's an invalidation of the Ukrainian claims. Let me find what else do I have. Pobjeda, Marinka, Synkivka, north of Optyne, south of Avdiivka. Oh, there's one I missed out in the south of Avdiivka. So other than the two frontline change in the Avdiivka, let me click this. So we have this, right? So this is the one I talked. There is actually a frontline change over in the south of Avdiivka. This is actually similar. It's an invalidation, but it's an invalidation of Russian claims. So there is a footage of shelling of Ukrainian position in the southern neighborhood of Avdiivka city, and this footage actually shows that the Ukrainian forces actually have positions in this area, which the Russians previously claimed along the Lisna Street. So which means the Russian forces is definitely nowhere around the settlement right now. They are allowing the Ukrainians to take the positions around this settlement region. I think the Russians are hiding in the forest. So that's the frontline change over in the southern part. Is more like an invalidation of the Russian claims. And I believe I got one more over at Pryyutne. So in the northern part of Pryyutne, this is actually the Velika Novosilka sector of the Zaporizhzhia front, which is stretching all the way there. So in this area here in the north of Pryyutne, there is a geolocation of Russian airstrikes on Ukrainian position in the north of Pryyutne region. So this Russian airstrike, so this is Pryyutne, in case you don't know. In the north, the airstrike happens around this area here. And given the airstrike is this location and the Russian claims was actually here, it cannot be that the Russians are here. So this actually changed the front line a little bit, confirming that the Ukrainians actually have a bit more grounds because they're getting airstrike exactly at this very position. So this is a very tiny correction in terms of the front lines, at least for the Russian mapping. So I believe I have covered everything. So we have Pobjeda, Marinka, and then Ivanivske, Synkivka, and then we have Optyne, South Avdiivka itself, north of Pryyutne, and Novomykhailivka. So yes, I covered everything. So this is the frontline changes report.